She raises her hand at the bull's head, trapping it in a cloud of illuminated pink mist. I skid to a stop and realize that the bull's head is unusual. Firstly, its horns are not smooth, but instead have sharp ridges, like the teeth of a saw. Secondly, its whole head is wrapped in black thorns. The bull grumbles and thrashes. What's happening? I call over to Star.
I can't influence his mind. Something is controlling him,
she says.
I can probably push past it, but I need my full concentration, and that would mean everyone else could see what's going on.
I look around. Is that what the pink light is?
Yes, I made it visible for you. Otherwise, you wouldn't see the bull.
Star shuts her eyes and puts up both hands.
Whatever's controlling him is pushing back against me. I don't think I can hold him any longer.
I toss my messenger bag aside.
Then I guess I'll have to... Oh.
Then I guess I'll have to punch him.
What? No, that's crazy. Take Andrew and get out of here,
she calls. And let the bull rampage around the promenade? It could really hurt someone. You keep the people away from here, and I'll try and knock some sense into him.
You're going to get hurt. Or worse.
I take a deep breath. Already, I feel the power of spiritual energy spinning inside me. When we first learned the soul fist, there's a visual exercise we do. The inner wheel. We imagine that there's a wheel in our belly that spins spiritual energy through us the way our heart pumps blood. When we need more energy, we imagine the wheel spinning faster, filling our muscles and bones with power from the spirit world. I breathe again. The pink light is pushed away by the faint green glow I create. I feel excited and terrified. The power inside me makes me feel warm, like I've just done a great workout. But as it sits unused in my body, it's also uncomfortable, like a continual prickle of electricity underneath my skin. That sensation will go away once I start punching the bull. Here we go! The bull thrashes his head one last time, pushing Star's cloud of pink light away. Before it can regain its senses, I spring into the air, coiling my fist back and redirecting all the power I can into my knuckles. I aim for the softest spot I can think of, its left eye. Pow! The strike is true. Green lights surround my fist like fire. The soul fist strike is perfectly executed, and like the jackal I fought the other day, it should tear a hole in the spirit's body. I land, turn, and look. Nothing is happening. Well, nothing except the bull looks really pissed. Uh-oh. My legs are still bent from my landing, so I shove all of my strength and power I can into my thighs. When the bull scoops his head down to slice at me with its horns, I throw myself into a backflip. He misses and takes a moment to aim his neck straight, which I dodge by taking another jump back. Horns are easy to avoid because the enemy has to aim, then strike. They can't see whether while they're striking, so they can't correct their attacks. That only keeps me from getting killed, though. I don't think I'm going to tire him out. I crouch below his third strike, razor sharp horn skimming only inches away from the top of my head. I repeat the same process, focusing the soul fist energy into my thighs and curling myself as tight as I can. Except this time when I explode upward, I arch myself backward and snap my legs underneath the jaw. The backflip kick hits his mark, leaving a strike of jade green light behind me. I land in a low 3-point stance and look up to see the damage. Nothing. Come on!
Jane, get out of there!
Star calls. I watch myself exit my body, which is a really freaky experience. An exact copy of myself running beneath the bull and slides between his legs. The bull snorts and jumps to turn itself around. The copy is perfect, not just in the appearance and clothes, but in how I move. I'm running exactly how I run. Even the slide beneath the bull used the proper form and technique I would have used. Star saw me do 3 moves, and she figured all of that out? The bull rampages after my copy, and I run back to my messenger bag, throwing it open. In all the commotion, I had forgotten the principles of fighting large spirits. I remember them now, though. Principle 1, go with the team. Okay, that wasn't happening. Principle 2, use ranged weapons. Don't have those. Principle 3, blades. The problem with modern society, though, is I can't walk around with a sword strapped to my back. Even a 6-inch long knife is illegal to carry around. I do have a smaller 4-inch knife, but I'm not supposed to have it at school, so I'm not sure if it's in the bag or not. I look. It's not. But I find the ribbon. I'm not sure how the ribbon's going to help, but the 160th Guardian gave it to me to protect Andrew. I look over to Andrew, who is still sitting in the nook. He's curled into a ball, hiding his face beneath his arms. He's absolutely terrified. I give the ribbon a snap, like cracking a whip. I expect it to float and flutter around, but it feels strong. Bind things, literally and metaphorically. I repeat Archer's words. Okay, Ribbon, I'm not sure what your deal is, but you better be good. The bull has finished trampling my copy, realized it's a copy, and turned around to seek me out again. I take another breath, this one hot and metallic in my mouth. The green aura of the Sophist is even stronger now, and it's cutting through the pink haze. The bull must be able to sense it, because he looks right at me. He stamps his front foot, just like a cartoon bull getting ready to charge. Toro! I call out, holding one end of the ribbon in each hand. We charge at each other. He dips his head as we get closer, his savage horns glistening in the light. I lower the ribbon against the ground, crossing my arms to create a loop with it and prepare for another jump. For a moment, I'm worried that the ribbon isn't long enough for what I need it to do. I jump and perform a complicated rotating flip, watching the ribbon. It's getting longer. It flags behind me, a scarlet river of silk, extending longer and longer until I land on the bull's back. I pull up on each end, trying to wrap it around his neck. Come on, tighten! It does. The ribbon itself shrinks, but also tightens around the bull's neck with an incredible force. Was it reacting to my thoughts, or the Sophist energy? I don't know, and I don't care. All I know is that the bull is trying to thrash his head around, but can barely do so. I stand on his massive back and breathe, visualizing the wheel in my belly to spin into overdrive. Every muscle in my body feels energized, but also burning. My strength is amplified way beyond its limits, and I use it to crane his head upward. I need him to choke out or to fall over. I'm strong, but he's definitely stronger. The bull, realizing he's in trouble, bucks. He bucks forward onto his front legs and then onto his back, and continues this motion harder and harder, trying to throw me off. The ribbon tightens, and I wrap the ribbon around my hand, as stupid as that seems. If I make a mistake, the ribbon could crush my hands. I focus entirely on balance. His bucking isn't working, so he adds spinning. This is way harder to deal with, and within a few moments, I find myself flying through the air. I let go of the left end of the ribbon, and I hear it softly whispering as it unwraps the bull's neck and flutters behind me. I'm going to get real hurt if I don't land this. I try and get my bearings in the spinning world and realize I'm spinning sideways through the air like a human frisbee. I'm facing the ground, so it's an easy thing to plant my hands and feet. I skid, but green energy streaks out of me, cushioning the damage. When I look at my hands, they're only slightly scraped.
Jane!
I look up. It's Andrew. He's standing on the promenade now. Terror is still filling his face, but he has his fists clenched at his sides. He's trembling, but I can't tell if it's rage or fear. Maybe it's both. He's glowing. Blue. Andrew, don't! I'm fine! I yell. But he can't control himself. The blue light starts to rise off of him like steam. Star, calm him down! I yell. Star rushes over to him, hugging him once again. He shakes more, falling into her embrace, but the blue light doesn't stop. Like my soulfist energy, the guardian power is cutting through the pink illusion mist. The bull can feel it. It turns its attention to Andrew and Star, then stamps his feet. No! I yell, and throw one end of the ribbon, willing it to fly through the air. Like before, it obeys my intentions and streaks out around the bull, rounding its neck and then coming back to me like a boomerang. Don't you dare! I yell, as I snag the other end of the ribbon. I quickly wrap both ends around my waist, then pull it up my back in an X, then back into my hands. We're intertwined now, the bull and I. I face away from the bull. The bull charges. I get pulled along by the ribbon, rising into the air for a second. I won't let you go! I manage to shove my feet into the ground. My whole body's on fire with green soulfist energy, but it's taking everything I have. My feet are pulled through the bricks, leaving broken bits of them behind as it drags me. But then we stop. And I pull and pull and pull, but I'm not moving. But he's not either. I spare a glance over my shoulder and I see that the bull is only 5 or so feet away from Star and Andrew. Star is trying to move Andrew, but she's smaller than he is and knows if the blue energy is protecting him. The glance cost me a few inches. I turn back around and focus everything on holding the bull back. I'm not sure how long I can do it, but I have to. Long enough for Star and Andrew to get to safety. I hear a long, burbling sip. Open my eyes long enough to see my brother James. He's sipping on a boba.
Hey,
He says,
looks like you're having a rough time.
James, grab on, help,
Technically, I think this is your fight.
he says, taking another sip. He's too strong, I say between frantic gasps. I can't hold on.
Yes, you can.
He says it with such surety that it catches me off guard. I look up at him, confused. I lose a few more inches of ground, and the ribbon's starting to dig tight into my waist.
You can do this, Jane. I'm going to talk you through it.
Talk me through what? I gasp.
Breathe. You're not breathing. Your energy is unregulated.
He's right. I'm too tense, and I'm actually holding my breath between words, trying to gather more tension into my body. I take a deep breath and force myself to relax. It may seem like a foolish thing to do when you're being pulled by a giant bull, but relaxing and breathing gives you more strength. I feel the soulfist energy surge through my muscles, and my feet feel steadier on the ground.
Good. Now you're going to do two things at the same time, and it won't be easy, but you can do it. The first is that you're going to surge almost all of the energy in your body into your legs. You're going to have to gather as much as you can handle before you do it, because you'll need to hold it for 2 or 3 seconds. Can you do that?
James says. Yeah, I think so, I say. I start breathing deeper, in through my nose and out through my mouth. The invisible wheel in my belly accelerates, churning more and more energy through me. The glow around my body has gone full anime, flaring around me like a candle flame.
Great. You remember the wheel? The visualization exercise they gave you when you're young?
Yeah, the one that spins the energy. I'm doing it right now, I say.
You're going to stop it.
What? What do you mean stop it?
That's it. Just stop it. The energy you send to your legs is going to keep you from being pulled away. The energy that wants to flow inside you is going to stop in your belly, building up like a dam. Then, when you can't hold it anymore, you're going to release it through your body all at once.
That's impossible, I managed to yell. This is stupid, James. Just grab the ribbon. Or take Andrew out of here, or get help, or something.
No, Jane, you can do this. I won't give up, and neither will you.
He crunches his boba cup and tosses it over his shoulder into the trash can behind him.
You can do this. You've trained in the Soul Fist your entire life, and you're really good at it.
James, come on.
1,
James, I can't.
2,
James.
3.
I shut my eyes and focus. The energy in my body stops flaring around me and dives into my legs. I imagine the energy flowing out of my soles and into the ground, growing like deep roots into the planet. I imagine myself becoming one with the whole earth, an immovable force like a mountain. The bull will not move me. The bull cannot move me. Once I'm rooted, I think about the wheel and the flow of energy through my body, and I will it to stop. I've never done this. We're never told how to just shut it down. Nobody ever shuts it down. The energy flows to everyone. It's part of being alive. Stopping the flow is like dying. And that's what it feels like. It feels like the last moments of my life. I want to throw up and faint. Everything seems dim and cold. And yet at the same time, there's a burning inferno of life energy building in my belly, struggling to be released. I can't do it. I can't keep the energy rooted in the ground and keep it from flowing. It's like to breathe in and out at the same time. Tears run from my eyes and on my cheeks. I'm scared. I want James to reach out and pick me up and take me away from all of this. I want my Just help, please. The energy is bursting at the seams. I can't hold it a second longer. A voice calls to me, but it seems miles away.
Now, Jane, release it all at once.
The wheel spins, the energy flows. The tension on my back is suddenly gone, along with the pressure on my waist and arms. I feel light. Did I die? I see a shadow pass over me and I look up to find its cause. The bowl is flying above me. I just threw it. I quickly assess my body and I feel that I still have at least half of the incredible energy I gathered. I adjust my stance and tighten my grip on the ribbons and concentrate. The ribbons grow taut. Time for a final smash. With the remaining strength in my body, I hurl the bowl as hard as I can at the ground. The impact throws dirt and debris into the air. The walkway is now spiderweb with a thousand tiny cracks. The ribbon goes slack, and so do I. I slump forward onto one knee, suddenly exhausted. Sweat is pouring out of me. I feel cold and damp and hot and exhausted all at once.
Nice,
James says. It's only now that I realize he's wearing his work outfit, the electrician's jumpsuit and the matching hat. He has his tool bag at his feet. Is that enough? I ask.
Take a look.
I stand up long enough to look at the bowl. What's left of it is turning into a purple vapor, and energy returning to the spirit world. The big crater is going to be left behind, but there won't be any blood or bone. I wonder what the owner is going to say to justify that oddity.
Knew you could do it.
James says, nudging my arm. But what was it I did? I turn, but he's already walking away, tools in hand. What was that? How did you know how to do that? I call out. Then I realize we're still in the pink illusion mist from Star's power. Why isn't the illusion...
Oh. Nope,
Why isn't the illusion working on you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
He says.
I was just getting boba.
I want to chase after him, but my legs feel a little jelly-like. I wobble and I'm about to fall when I feel hands on my back.
Hey, you okay?
Star says. I think so.
That was amazing. I've never seen anything like it. You're so strong.
Star says as she helps steady me. Where's Andrew?
I'm here.
He says. He looks worn out too.
Is it gone?
Yeah, dead. Well, as dead as spirits get, I say. The pink shroud of light fades quickly and the world resumes the way it was.
We should go.
Star says.
Can you walk?
I take a wobbly step.
Sure you're okay?
Andrew asks, moving to my other side to steady me. It was just a lot of energy to expend. I didn't get hurt. I think I'm hungry. The second I say it, I realize that my stomach is an aching maw of emptiness. It growls loudly as if to tell Star and Andrew.
I'll drive,
Star says. Star, of course, has this sexy cherry red Tesla that probably costs more than my family's house. She's a good driver, I notice. I get the front seat and I notice that the car is also super clean. I wonder if it's because she's as neat as Andrew is, or if she has so many cars she can't ever get one dirty. We get a booth at Jojo's Diner. I order 3 burgers and a mountain of fries, and when they arrive, I eat in a trance. The exhaustion is sort of nice. I'm no longer panicking about Star's presence or the fact that I'm eating like a pig while she daintily sips on lemon water. I'm not thinking about how soft she felt or how warm Andrew felt when they helped me into the cars. The dates, the clans, the marriage, it all feels really far away right now. Every thought and feeling inside me is primal. I beat the bad guy. This was my warrior feast. Grunt, grunt. Halfway through the 3rd burger, my sanity starts to return. No one has said a word. Star has flipped through her phone a little, though she doesn't seem overly engrossed in it. It feels more like she's doing it to be polite, to not notice that I'm eating a whole cow, and to not notice Andrew is staring forlornly out to the window. Phew, that's better, I say, slurping at my milkshake. Sorry about that,
Hey, no worries.
Star says, slipping her phone away.
And I'll pay, so order whatever you want.
Thanks, I say. It's only now that I realize we've taken similar sitting positions from the promenade. Star and I are on one side of the booth, while Andrew is on the other. Andrew turns to look at me.
I'm sorry, Jane. This is all my fault.
No need, Andrew. I'm Haruk. We train to fight wayward and out of control spirits.
Yes, but you had to put yourself in danger because of me. That bull was after me specifically,
He looks at Star.
wasn't it?
Star considers her words.
I think so. The horns on the bull's head were not part of the spirit. They weren't even visible. Really, I made them visible with an illusion. It's symbolic. Something else had twisted itself around his mind. I don't know if it was actively being controlled or if it was following orders. Either way, I don't think a spirit like that would have much interest in attacking you on its own.
Which means that this and the jackal attack aren't random. There's an organized attempt to get me.
Andrew says.
Jackals?
Star asks. Andrew tells an abridged version of the story. When he's finished, Star nods.
Yes, this does sound like a coordinated attack. What do you think, Jane?
I think we need to get help, I say. I think we need the Guardian. Andrew shakes his head.
I tried already. Wherever Mom is, she's not reachable. Damn it, I should know where she is.
Star reaches a hand across the table and takes Andrew's.
It's okay. We'll figure it out.
I envy her ability to just go and take what she wants. I consider reaching out to take Andrew's hands too, but there's a plate in the way, and I'm not sure the grease is off my fingers yet. I take another bite of burger instead. I'll tell my dad about it. Maybe we can get some Haruk to follow you around, I say.
I don't think that'll be possible.
Star says. She takes out her phone and opens up a picture, then zooms it in. She hands it to me. I wipe my hands on a scratchy paper napkin and look. It's a picture of a document. I scroll it around so I can read it. The heck is this? I say.
The contract our clan signed. There are really explicit rules in place to make sure that the contest is fair.
Ugh, contest. Fair. This is our romantic lives we're talking about, not a martial arts tournament. But I let it slide for now. It says that the clans aren't allowed to interact with Andrew, I say.
Think about if they were. It'd be a competition between which clan could offer him the most stuff, and it might influence his final decision. So, it's limited to you and me.
Star explains. Mandatory date numbers? I read.
Per week. It's 2 for you, 2 for me. 2 group dates, and 1 day where neither of us sees him.
Star says. This is insane. None of this will matter if Andrew gets hurt, I say.
I agree. We should both talk to our clans and see if we can change some minds, but I wouldn't count on it. It took a lot of time and effort just to get this agreement.
Star says. How long have you known about this? I ask.
About 6 months, I guess.
I groan and rest my head on the table. Star even had the advantage of time.
This is my fault. If I were different, this wouldn't be this way.
Andrew says, turning to face the window again. I sit up and study him. He panicked during both fights. No, panic wasn't the right word. Scared didn't seem right either. It was like he lost himself completely when the spirit showed up. He was so overcome with anxiety that it looked like he could hardly breathe. And then there was that strange blue light that came off of him, the one that drew the bull's attention. Obviously the guardian power, but why was he able to draw on it then? Or was it like Archer said, that he already received the power and he was just blocking it off? There's something he's hiding, but I don't know if this is the best time to ask.
I need to get my car.
Andrew mumbles.
I can take us back if everyone's ready.
Star says. I'll just leave from here, I say, as much as it pains me. Star is going to get some alone time with him, but the truth is I want to get to this clan center quickly. The promenade is on the other side of the town, and by the time everyone drives me to and from, I could already be there. The clan center is a short walk from Jojo's diner.
You sure?
Star asks. Yeah, can you make sure he gets home? She nods.
Of course.
We get up and head out the front door. I turn to Andrew. Well, this was fun.
You can't keep saying that,
he says. Look, I know you probably don't believe me, or if you do believe me, you think I'm a freak, but I like fighting. So that part was kind of fun. But I also like spending time with you. I like the quiet parts too. He manages a half smile. Surprising myself, I lean forward and give him a hug. Don't be so hard on yourself. You're not in this alone anymore. You got me and a mega music star. So, all your bases are covered.
Yeah. This is super weird,
he whispers.
I didn't think I'd be dating celebrity level.
I didn't think I'd be dating at all. We pull back from the hug. At least if nothing else, this will be a great story someday, I suggest.
I'll text you later,
he says, and I believe him when he says it. The two of them climb into Star's Tesla. I turn and start walking. I think about putting in some headphones from the walk, but I don't. I'm not sure if I can listen to Melody Starlight right now. I wish I could tell you that the Haruka Clan Training Center is this gorgeous set piece from a kung fu movie, complete with stone statues of warriors past, secret archives that are accessed by whispering a password into a lotus blossom, fountains filled with flesh-eating fish, and Shaolin wooden men whose mechanical power frighten the bravest souls. It's not. The training center is a huge warehouse, which is now covered practically end to end with matting. There are no walls. The regions are separated out into different spots. Class instruction, weapons training, obstacle climbing, free workouts, and even a corner with standard weights and exercise equipment. The ceiling is extremely high, which meant it's always either freezing cold or sweltering hot. It's effective, if a little anticlimactic for Clan of Spirit Warriors. I go to the locker room to lock up my bag, but I don't change. During the walkover, I started to feel the effects of today's battle on my body. I'm not as sore as I think I should be, and that worries me a little. Probably best not to push myself. Besides, I have a goal. I find Ivy training two young kids. They're the Kim twins, a couple of 11-year-old boys who spend most of their time bickering at each other rather than training. Ivy stands at the edge of the mat while the Kim twins have fallen into another flailing slap fight. She sighs and rubs her eyes. Her baby coos. Ivy is in her mid-20s and is my favorite instructor. All of the instructors in the clan are great, and they all treat me with equality and respect, but Ivy just gets me. Partially because our bodies are so similar, so she understands how best to help me. Partially, I think, because, like me, she is one of the few girls of her generation to take the clan training extremely seriously. The next woman of a notable combat strength is Mrs. Cho, who is in her 50s. There's also the fact that she was almost my sister, but I try not to think about that.
If you two boys don't stop slapping each other, I'm going to start slapping you with the staff,
Ivy says, her voice even and cool, which makes it more scary than if she were yelling. The Kim twins stop and grumble. Ivy looks at her watch.
Your time is up anyway. Go change. Your mom will be here soon.
They bow and salute and race each other to the locker room. Ivy stretches out her back and pulls on the bodegi straps that keep her son attached to her back. A bodegi is basically a Korean baby backpack. Hi, Ivy, I say. Hi, Carter, I coo to the baby.
Oh, Jane, thank God. Someone who knows what they're doing,
Ivy grumbles. She unravels the bodegi and gives Carter off her back, setting him down in a nearby portable crib. He coos some more and watches his own hands move around. How long do you think until the Kim twins quit? I asked.
Probably 14. I don't think they like it that much. They like the idea of it, but I think they're happier fighting their battles with a game controller,
Ivy says. She stretches out a few times, but notices that I'm not in my training gear.
What's up?
I probably shouldn't train right now. I got into a fight. She snaps up right away.
Spirit or person?
Spirit.
Uh-oh, tell me everything.
I do. Twice, because I remember that I never told anyone about the jackal attack. At some point during my story, she picks up Carter and we move to some folding chairs at the side. When it comes time to talk about the battle with the bull, however, I decide to leave a few things out. Firstly, James's involvement, because I'm not interested in exploring that path of drama. Secondly, I leave out the technique that he taught me about gathering up the spiritual energy and releasing it. I don't know why, but I get the sense that it's not something I'm supposed to do. Lastly, I leave out the ribbon. Again, I'm not really sure why. Maybe I'm still mad at the clan for putting me through all this. Maybe I'm worried that they'll take it away from me, and I happen to like my gift from the 160th Guardian. Maybe it's a pointless act of rebellion. When I'm finished with both stories, she takes a long breath.
We need to tell your father and Master Choi.
I sigh, because I know she's right, and I know that her lack of disapproval is deserved. Okay, but before we do, I need a weapon.
I don't think your father is going to attack you.
No, I mean, for these beasts. The jackals were okay, but the bull was too strong, and my strikes weren't penetrating. I know I can't carry a knife or a sword around, but is there anything else I can keep handy? Ivy thinks about this. I can tell she's deliberating whether or not she should be handing out a weapon to me, considering I could already be in trouble from the clan leaders.
I'm not supposed to do this,
she says. I'm about to reply when she holds up a hand to stop me.
I'm going to, though, because I think the situation is a complete mess. I don't agree with it. I don't like that they stuck you in the middle of it, and I especially don't like how they prepared you for it, or rather how they didn't prepare you for it. This is to help you, and my way of expressing my disagreement with clan leadership.
A strange and sudden lump of emotion fills my belly and chest. This is the first time someone has acknowledged how crappy my situation is, and isn't qualifying it with nonsense about the benefits of clan or the future of the spirit world. Ivy sees me as Jane, the person who is being forced to do something she doesn't want to do. Thank you, I choke out. I kind of want to hug her, but she's already passing Carter to me and walking over to another set of lockers. She pops hers open and takes out two black objects. They're about 12 inches long and metal. She flicks her wrists, and the metal objects expand, revealing colorful yellow silk with purple hibiscus blossoms painted on them. I groan. Fans? Really?
Can't walk around with a spear or sword in your pocket, and it's not street legal for you to carry a knife. Nothing wrong. Iron fans, though. Well, really, they're steel fans. The tines are sharpened to a razor edge, the silk is extremely durable, and the casing is heavy and good for leverages or pinpoint strikes.
Ivy says. She does a few swirling strikes with the fans as she explains, which are both beautiful and deadly. I know, Ivy. He taught me the iron fan style, I say.
Then you should be more excited. Like it or not, no one is going to question why the Korean girl is walking around with a couple of silk fans in her messenger bag. And if they do, just tell them they're for Bushman practice.
Buchicham the Korean fan dance. My mom made me do it once, when I was 10. I hated every second of it. Thanks, Ivy, I say, taking the fans.
Now let's talk to your father and Master Choi.
As it turned out, our timing was perfect. Master Choi, the head of the training center and a member of the Haru Council, was just arriving. He's a tall and stern man who's happened to be wearing his police dress uniform, which made him all the more imposing. He's wearing gold-rimmed glasses, the only softening feature about him. Master Choi is also a police lieutenant, a position he uses to monitor strange spiritual events and crimes in the city. He's also my uncle. Uncle Robert. That doesn't make him any less intimidating. We intercept him on the way to the office.
Master Choi, there's something important that Jane has to tell you. It's urgent, and it concerns the Guardian.
This gets my Uncle Robert's attention.
Of course. Let's head into the office.
He opens the door and steps inside. But before the door can close all the way, it bursts open again.
Uncle Robert, we need to talk about Jane's assignment,
Henry says, his voice almost at a yell. I can tell he's pissed but also terrified. I think he's using his anger to help steel himself against Uncle Robert's imposing presence.
Henry,
Uncle Robert starts. Henry doesn't let him finish.
It's inconceivable that you would let Jane have the guardian assignment. If the next guardian is that important, then he should be protected by our best fighters. And I'm clearly the best fighter between Jane and myself.
He says, "Hey, what the hell?" I blurt out. Ivy gives me a warning look, so I decide to shut my mouth until this is over.
I understand that you probably picked Jane because she's the same age, but I just graduated high school. I can blend in just as well as she can. Jane hasn't proven herself in spirit combat. Jane is still only 17, and Jane can't be expected to handle all of that responsibility by herself.
I swear, I was going to punch Henry so hard. Not now. Not even soon. But when he least expected it. Like next Thanksgiving.
Take her out. Put me in.
Henry finished. Uncle Robert didn't say anything. He hardly even moved. This was really scarier than anything else he could have done, and I could see Henry's resolve cracking a little bit. I told Henry about the assignment yesterday, but I didn't hear anything about it from my family. He must have decided to skip talking to Dad and go straight to Uncle Robert, and he probably spent all day psyching himself up for it. Uncle Robert sits down behind his desk and folds his hands.
Henry, you were saying you want to replace Jane in her assignment.
Uncle Robert asks. Henry hesitates, but nods.
Yes, I think I'm better suited.
To be clear, you wish to marry the guardian.
Uncle Robert asks.
Mary? What?
He looks around, first at Uncle Robert, then to me. I must look guilty because Henry's shock turns into an immediate glare.
I see.
Uncle Robert says, placing his glasses on the desk.
I believe there's been a miscommunication. Henry, Jane, have a seat. Please retrieve Samuel and then excuse us.
Yes, master.
Ivy says. We all do as we're told, and my dad comes in a moment later. He's wearing training pants and a tattered gray t-shirt. He was teaching the kids' class today.
What's going on?
Dad asked.
Samuel, can you explain to me why your son doesn't know that Jane is seeking the guardian's hand in marriage?
The energy in the room shifts immediately. Dad seems to shrink 4 inches, while at the same time stew in anger. Dad hates his full name. Everyone in the world just calls him Sam, but not Uncle Robert.
I didn't tell him.
Dad says.
Yes, that seems to be the case. The Haruk Council give your family this job, Samuel, and as the head of the family, you have failed. You failed to prepare your daughter, you failed to inform your family, and as a result, your daughter has lied to your son, and your son has issued inappropriate demands of a clan master.
Dad says nothing. Uncle Robert continues.
Henry, your demands show your immaturity and your recklessness. The Haruk Council does not come to decisions as quickly and simply as you do. Even if the assignment was for Jane to protect and not court the Guardian, the Council would have made that decision for good reason. You were not in a position to question those decisions, especially if you believe that barging into a room and demanding what you want is the wisest course of action.
Henry says nothing, but lowers his eyes away from Uncle Robert.
You will continue training, and you will continue to earn responsibility as you demonstrate your worth. Nothing is freely given. Am I understood?
Yes, Uncle Robert.
Yes, Master Choi.
My Uncle Robert corrects. I can see the muscles in Henry's jaw clenching tightly.
Yes, Master Choi.
Henry manages to choke out.
Now, please wait outside. Your father will give you more details later.
Henry gets up and storms out.
Jane.
My uncle says. I actually jump in my seat, startled. Yes?
How are things going with the Guardian?
He asks this in as kind and as soft as a tone he can manage, but it still has too many somber authority in it. I imagine what he must have looked like when my mom berated him and the rest of the council into making my date requirement a single meeting. He must have had to swallow so much pride. My mom's kind of scary now that I think about it. They're going well? He's nice. I like hanging out with him. I don't know what else to say about it. I don't understand all the feelings I'm having right now, but even if I did, it was extremely awkward to share them with my authoritarian uncle. He seems to sense that and nods.
Good. Good. I'm glad.
I think he is glad, actually. It's kind of sweet and in a terrifying sort of way.
Ivy said you had something to talk about.
He prompts. I tell them what I told her. And again, I omit James, the spirit energy manipulation, and the ribbon. My uncle's face grows more concerned by the minute.
This is a problem. We didn't anticipate that spirits might try to attack the Guardian during this period.
My uncle says. Can't we just keep a few Hadouk around to protect him? My dad and uncle share a look.
The contract between the two clans is very specific. The only clan members allowed to interact with him are you and the chosen Arkezi. And if the Guardian desires, the immediate family members, but only in a social situation. No family member or clan member can offer aid, comfort, or support to the Guardian.
My uncle says, this is pretty much what Star told me earlier. Then you have to renegotiate the contract. I think Star will help me keep him safe, but the two of us can't do everything. My uncle perks up.
Star, as in Estelle Arkezi?
Yeah, I say. My uncle lets out a long breath.
She's the daughter of an Arkezi clan leader. Oh,
My dad
shoot.
explains.
She's the daughter of an Arkezi clan leader.
My dad explains. She's also a superstar celebrity, I point out. This doesn't seem to concern either of them, but they're old, so why would it?
We will schedule a meeting with the Arkezi as soon as possible. We will do our best to renegotiate the terms. In the meantime, do your best to keep him protected. We will increase general patrols, so if something like that bull strikes again, you should be able to find help.
My uncle says. He whips out a yellow notepad and starts taking rapid notes.
And ask Andrew if he can contact his mother.
My dad suggests. I nod and agree to all of this. My dad and I leave. It's getting late and the kids' class is over, so he offers to drive me home. Soon, we're in his truck, the radio playing some country ballad. Uncle was too hard on Andrew, and on you, I say, though I'm surprised to hear myself say it. My dad sighs.
He's a clan leader. He has very difficult decisions to make.
Doesn't mean he has to be a jerk about it, I say.
It's important for your uncle's identity to be in charge, especially to be in charge of me. We've been bickering like this all our lives. I let him do it because it matters to him, but it doesn't matter to me. In the end, I love him, and he loves us, even if it's hard to understand that.
I think about my relationship with my own brother and how I've cushioned Henry's ego for years. It never occurred to me that Dad had to do the same thing for Uncle Robert.
I'm glad that you like Andrew,
he says. I don't know if I like him, I say. He's at least a friend.
If you decide you don't want to do this anymore, just tell me. I'll do the right thing this time. I'll stand up for you.
I consider that a moment. Andrew needs protecting, and if I have to do it, so be it. And besides, I do like hanging out with him. And there won't be many other chances in life to hang out with someone like Star. No, it's fine for now, I say. I do need one favor, though.
What's that?
Do you think you can let James have some time off tomorrow after I'm done with school? I need to talk to him about something.
Sure thing,
he says.
Are you okay?
Fernanda asks the next morning. She has a box from Jojo's diner with blueberry muffins. Do I look that bad? I mutter, taking a coffee and slurping it down.
You look worn out, like someone came during the night and prodded your face with a broom.
I let out a groan and rubbed my face. It's true. I'm exhausted, and I slept like a log, but somehow it wasn't a restful sleep. Dreams plagued me all night, but I couldn't wake from them. I can't remember them that well either, other than knowing it was full of Andrew and Star and my family. I didn't sleep well, I say, peeling the wrapper off my muffin.
How'd your date go?
My date. It feels like a lifetime since Andrew picked me up, even though it was only yesterday afternoon. It was cut short. I wish I could tell her everything. I really need some outside perspective right now.
Well, find some inner strength or whatever, because Tristan's walking over here.
Fernanda says, What? Wait.
Hey, Fernanda. Hey, Jane.
Tristan's greeting to me feels more pointed. He's looking directly at me with some very intentional eye contact. I take a deep breath and shake my head out a little. My heart starts to pound with excitement and nervousness, and it pushes away the exhaustion. Hi, I say, letting a smile spread across my face.
Oops, just realized I need to be somewhere. See you later.
Fernanda says, scooping up her coffee and muffin and starting to walk away. I turn around and our eyes meet, and we have one of those silent conversations that only best friends can have. Where are you going? I say with my eyes.
Letting you guys be alone.
She says with her eyebrows. I don't want to be alone. I want your help. I plead with a grimace. It's too late, though, because she's already turned around and striding away.
Is she okay?
Tristan asks. For now, I mutter. I wonder if there's a way I can get back at her without hurting her. I could probably mess up her hair or something. I turn around to face Tristan. I eat some muffins and I drink some coffee. You don't have to hang out with me, in case you're still trying to make amends or something, I say.
Do you not want to hang out with me?
No, I didn't mean it like that. I just meant if you had other friends.
I don't,
he says. I frown. Really? You were so popular before. He shrugs.
That was 2 years ago, Jane. Some of my friends don't go here anymore. The few that do have changed a lot. I'm not sure we were ever friends to begin with. You know how it is in 9th grade. You're friends with everyone just because you're terrified of being alone.
That was painfully true.
So, are you nervous?
He asked. I wasn't until he said that. My heart is pounding even faster. About what?
Tryouts,
he says, pointing at a yellow flyer pinned to a nearby bulletin board.
Or do you get to be a permanent team member these days?
I finally figured out what he means. Oh, right. I don't play volleyball anymore.
You don't? I thought you were like the best player.
Yeah, I was.
Then why'd you stop?
This is the second time I've been asked that, but I don't think he's going to buy it. Buy the I was tired of it line. And also, I don't want to lie to him, which is stupid because I have to lie to everyone all the time about the clan and the Soulfist. But I don't want to with Tristan. I don't know why, but I just don't. But I can't tell him the truth, so I compromised. I study martial arts, taekwondo, aikido, that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, I kind of remember that,
he says.
Didn't you break a board for the talent show in 7th grade?
You remember that? I say, surprised.
It was pretty badass. But continue,
he says. Yeah, well, I train a lot, and because of that, I'm a lot stronger than most of the girls. So it's not fair that I keep playing.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I'm too shocked to answer. I just feel my jaw hanging open, waiting for words to come.
Sorry, I don't mean that you're dumb. I just don't understand that reason. Athletics is literally about who is the strongest and fastest. Why on earth would being stronger and faster make it not fair?
He had a good point. I mean, it wasn't like my power was like the Arcasi power, where I could manipulate the whole world around me with a snap of my finger. I had to work for the Soulfist, and work really hard. I can't just draw on spiritual energy to power myself up. The energy only comes if I'm in peak physical condition. Yes, that energy can make me supernaturally strong and fast, but using it was a choice. As long as I chose not to use it, I could still play. Why hadn't anyone pointed that out to me before? Why didn't my parents or the clan understand this basic thing about our own power? Or is it a trust issue? They didn't think I could refrain from using the soul fist to help me win games, which is stupid because I've never used it for personal gain, even though there were so many times when I wanted to.
Jane?
I shake my head. Sorry, you just sort of blew my mind there for a second. He gives me an odd look. That makes me sound like an idiot. I'm not, I mean, I get that being strong and fast is good for sports. It's just that my parents always told me that it wasn't fair to others, and I just listened to them without really thinking about it.
No, I get it. Parents have a way of getting into your head, which is probably a good thing most of the time, but it doesn't mean that they're right about everything. We need to think about ourselves before anything else.
Tristan says. That's sort of selfish, I say without much thought.
I don't think so. I mean, if you're an amoral sociopath or something, yeah, that's a bad way to live. But most of us have been raised to know that we should treat others with kindness and respect. I think it's more dangerous to constantly put others first. How can you go around and help others if your own needs aren't met?
I guess that makes sense. Can't feed the hungry if you don't have any food yourself.
Yeah, exactly. But take it one step further. No one expects the poor to help the poor, but what about emotional needs? How can you help someone through a hard time if you're already drained about the things in your life? You've given up a whole sport to protect the feelings of other people, but what did it cost you? Self-esteem? Friendships? Happiness?
Tristan is a lot deeper than I gave him credit for. Of course, he had told me he had spent the last couple of years reevaluating himself, but I guess I didn't believe him. Now I do. Especially since the things he's saying are spinning my thoughts into a big jumbled mess,
Sorry, I didn't mean to get so heavy.
Tristan says. I shake my head again, and I make a mental note to stop because I feel like a dog trying to shake off its collar. No, it's cool. You have some really good points. I think I need time to process them, though. I've been through some weird things lately, and a lot of it does have to do with my parents. They asked me to take on a responsibility I wasn't ready for, and it's not like I don't want to do it, but
You wish you had more of a say?
he asked. Pretty much.
I think you should do something for yourself soon. Something fun, something stupid, like ditch school and spend the day somewhere interesting.
Nice idea, but Fernanda would never go for that. She has an actual future with college and stuff. I don't really want to do something like that alone, I say.
I'll go with you.
He says. Really?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Like now? He laughs.
No, not now. Ditching school is something you have to plan in advance if you want it to be worthwhile. But soon. Next week.
Heart is pounding. This is stupid. If I'm caught, my parents will be so mad. But then again, there isn't a whole lot they can do to me right now. They can't ground me. I'm supposed to date Andrew. And maybe Tristan's right. Maybe I do need to do something for myself. Okay, I say, a voice barely above a whisper. Don't tell anyone, though. I can't get caught,
Believe me, I'm very good at secrets.
Tristan says. I spend the rest of the day wondering if I've made a mistake. I mean, ditching school isn't the worst thing a person can do, but it wasn't something I've ever done before. I almost tell Tristan that I've changed my mind. I almost tell him like 10 times, which is easy to do since it turns out that he has my exact same schedule, except for one class. But every time I got near him, he'd smile and my nerves would melt away. We aren't ditching until next week, so I still have time to back out. Maybe I could stay home sick so I could ditch my ditching.
Hey,
A voice calls when I step out of the school and onto my usual walk home. My brother James is leaning against his truck, arms crossed. In all of the excitement about Tristan, I completely forgot I asked James to meet me today. Let's go, I say, opening the passenger door and sliding in.
and where is it we're going?
Wherever you need to take me, I say.
You're awfully confident in that A, I know what the heck you're talking about, and B, that I'm going to help you.
Aren't you? I ask. He sighs and walks around the front of the truck and starts it up. A few minutes pass before he finally says,
So, there was a lot of excitement at the clan center last night.
Who told you?
Nobody told me directly, but between Amma, Dad, and Henry, I managed to piece it together. Also, Dad told me about your arranged marriage deal.
James says. He really didn't tell you guys?
No, but I knew something weird was going on. Leave it to Henry to jump to conclusions and cause a scene.
I might have led him to that conclusion, I admit. He shrugs.
Demanding things from Uncle Robert is never a good idea.
I can't argue with that. I look out the window and try to figure out where he's taking me. The buildings are starting to get more industrial. Dad also mentioned that there's going to be an increase in patrols to help keep the Guardian safe, which means you told them about the bull attack.
I did.
Ivy too?
Oh. Ivy too?
I was trying to not talk about Ivy with James. Yeah, I told her.
So you told Dad and Ivy and Uncle Robert, but you didn't tell them the whole truth.
What makes you say that?
Because if you did, I'd be in serious trouble.
He says. The truck turns down an empty access road that gets dustier by the second. A few minutes later, he turns into a gravel parking lot. It's a huge empty space with lots of small piles of rocks and stones. We drive along until we reach the far end, where there's a huge wall of earth and rock. It looks like it was once a hill, but it has been cut in half and excavated. What is this place? I ask.
Old rock quarry. Been out of business for 5 years or so. Nobody ever uses it.
He stops the truck and we get out. He leads us over to the rock wall, where we can stand in a patch of shade.
Okay, we're here. Ask the question.
He says. What was the technique you taught me to use on the bull spirit?
The Guardian Fist.
He says. I frown. That's the name of the soul fist style the 82nd Guardian used.
That's right.
James says. But it was only possible because he was the Guardian, I say, reciting the history lesson.
That's wrong. Before he passed on, the 82nd Guardian developed a method for a normal Hadouk clansperson to generate the same amount of power. He wrote his thoughts in excruciating detail and instructed to all who came after him to study it.
Wait, that can't be right. I've never seen anyone use something like that. Not the masters, not Uncle Robert.
You know why, Jane? You experienced it firsthand. It's an incredibly difficult and painful technique. It's kept a secret because too many Hadouk have injured themselves trying to master it. Some Hadouk have even suggested that the technique be considered forbidden and locked away.
He turns away from me and steps close to the rock wall. He holds his fist out to it, leaving the smallest sliver of space between it and his knuckles. He breathes deeply. I can feel the concentration radiating off of him, and for a moment I think I see a small glow of green light around his hands. He touches his fist to the wall. There's a sudden wave of pressure that ripples through the air along with a crack and rumble. A long, deep fissure appears in the rock wall from top to bottom. Pebbles and dust fly through the air. James turns around and nods appreciatively at his own fist.
Not bad for being out of practice.
You know the Forbidden Guardian Fist technique?
It's not forbidden yet. Haven't you been listening? And yes, I know it. Sort of. I read the tome the 82nd Guardian wrote, which, by the way, is a lot of extra words to just say, gather the flow of energy and release it when you need to.
I think back to the bull, back to the spinning wheel of energy, stopped and dammed up inside me, released into my body all at once, giving me a 3-second burst of superhuman strength. I look over at the fissure in the wall.
Go on. Try it.
I mimic Jane's position, hovering my fist by the wall. I focus on my breathing, imagining green spiritual energy flowing through me. I feel an exhilarating sensation of power, the feeling of charging myself up. But I can't slow the flow down.
Relax.
James says.
In many ways, the Guardian Fist is the opposite of what you've learned to do. Normally, we feed on the flow of the energy. We summon the energy to us in the kinetic movement of our minds and bodies. The Guardian Fist requires calm and concentration. Don't think of pulling the energy into you with the wheel. Think of the energy naturally flowing through you, like a stream in the woods.
I take another breath and try to do what James says. Don't pull the energy, just let it come in naturally. The flow of energy slows down tremendously, but I'm able to to remain still and calm while it flows through me.
Good. Now, like before, stop the wheel.
I imagine the wheel inside my belly and imagine halting its flow. The energy pools inside me again, though much slower than during the battle. The benefit of that, though, is that I don't immediately feel like throwing up. It's still uncomfortable, but manageable. I feel sweat beading on my forehead.
When you release it, channel the energy into your fist and then tap it against the wall.
James says. I release the wheel. The energy rushes into my body and takes a tremendous concentration to direct it at my fist. I lean in towards the wall, punching a little harder than James did. I feel the shockwave of power, though it's much weaker than James' punch. Dust shifts from the rock wall and all around me, and I feel a few pebbles scatter, but there definitely isn't an impressive crack. I frown and stare at my fist. Come on, fist, what gives?
Impressive.
James says. Oh, shut up, I mutter.
I'm being serious.
That doesn't make sense. Yesterday I threw a giant spirit bull with this technique, and today I can barely move a few pebbles.
When you were fighting the bull, you were already drawing a ton of spiritual energy from the battle, so you had more to work with. You were also in a life or death situation, which is always a lot more motivating than this ever so dangerous wall.
James says.
Now try again.
I do. It's still a painstaking process to gather the energy while trying not to gather the energy. This time, I try to gather a little more, hoping to make a bigger impact with the punch. There isn't one.
Damn, 2 in a row.
James says, impressed. I feel like I'm missing a lot of context here, I say. James considers this for a long moment. I'm not sure what he's thinking, but I can tell he isn't teasing me. Whatever he's considering, it's important.
Most Hadouk can't do this technique, Jane. None of the local masters can do it. Uncle Robert can't do it. Dad can't do it. Daniel can't do it.
Daniel?
Nope. To be honest, I think he knew he couldn't do it, but the clan leaders asked him to try. That was when he was around 18 or 19. It was a big deal at the time. He told me about it, even though he wasn't supposed to.
He says. Then, how do you know it?
I stole the book.
He says with a big grin.
I guess I borrowed the book, since we put it back afterwards.
We?
Me and Ivy. After Daniel read it and tried and failed, we got to talking and decided we wanted to try it ourselves. It was a pretty elaborate plan, honestly. It would make for a good heist movie.
James says. How old were you guys? I ask.
It was right after Daniel did it, so about your age. We wanted to be Juni, and we thought by mastering the secret technique, we'd get the edge.
Harukai Juni, the epitome of all battle warriors. My secret dream. You never told me you wanted to be a Juni, I say.
Most Hadouk go through a Juni phase, I think. We all get to a certain level and wish we could live the adventuring life of punching spirits. Even Daniel wanted to do it when he was around 14.
James says. I find myself staring at my feet. If Daniel couldn't become a Harukai Juni, what hope did I have?
I never figured the technique out, by the way. No matter how long she worked at it, it just never happened. So she gave up on becoming a Juni.
James says. That's terrible.
Most people aren't cut out to be a Juni.
But what about you? You learned the technique. Why didn't you go through with it? I asked.
Because when Ivy gave up, I realized I never wanted to be Juni. I just wanted to be with Ivy.
A sadness falls over James, one that I haven't seen in a long time. I pat him on the shoulder. Sorry, I say.
It's fine. It's history. And I don't want our history to interfere with your training. She's a great teacher, and you need her.
Yes, I know. We've only had this conversation like 40 times, I say, reassuring him. He takes a breath and looks at the crack in the wall.
The point you should take away from this, Jane, is that what you just did is rare. It took me months to be able to get it to happen at all, and then another 2 years to get the hang of it. You're good at this. Let yourself be good at it.
The heck does that mean?
I just know you. You spend a lot of time convincing yourself that you're ordinary. I'm not going to pretend I know what you're going through right now, between the end of high school, this weird guardian dating thing, and your training. What I do know is that a lot of people have been trying to do things for you to help you, or telling you why they can't help you.
He looks me dead in the eyes.
You can help yourself.
That's why you didn't fight the bull, I say, almost a whisper.
You didn't need me to. You needed to learn to do it for yourself. Now come on, at least 10 more times before you go.
We spend another hour at the quarry, tapping the side of the wall and sending pebbles bouncing around. At the end of the hour, I feel a strange kind of exhaustion, and I'm ravishingly hungry. We get back into the truck, and James heads for home.
By the way, a little bonus effect of using the Guardian Fist is that when you stop the flow of spiritual energy, all spiritual illusions fall away.
My eyes widen. Even our Casey ones?
How do you think I saw the bull in the first place?
He points out. Right, I had forgotten about that. My mind is racing. If I can get this technique under control, then I'll be able to see what Star is up to. I can see just how much of her charm and beauty is real, and how much of it is exaggerations of Arcasi power. Since we're having such a nice brother-sister moment, can I ask you a question? I say.
Sure.
Do you trust Star?
I don't know her, other than the endless looping of her album you put me through.
He says. Can I trust an Arcasi?
Power doesn't create morals. You know that. We could walk around and throw cars through windows, but we don't.
Cousin Francis did, I point out.
But Cousin Francis was an exception, not the rule.
But isn't the rule for Arcasis that they're manipulators? I ask.
The Haruk and Arcasi haven't been close allies in 30 years. We don't really know what's going on with them or how they live their lives. I would say give Star a chance.
Okay. Thanks, James, for everything.
Well, you did get me out of work, so it's the least I can do.
He says. A few moments pass, and I can tell he's thinking deeply about something.
Since we're having such a nice brother and sister moment, can I tell you a secret?
He says. Sure, I say, shocked. James never tells anyone anything.
Carter isn't mine.
He says. I feel like I've been punched in the gut. The question had loomed over our heads for almost 2 years now, and I wondered about it every time I picked him up, every time I heard him cry, every time I saw Ivy cradling him. Was he my nephew, or was he just another clan baby? Everyone had asked James directly at one point or another. Alma had practically been on a campaign about it until it became clear that James wasn't going to say anything one way or another. Okay, I say.
Don't tell Emma.
He says. I won't, I say, and I mean it. Why tell me, though?
Too many secrets around here. I think we need to start letting them out in the open. I'll tell Uma and Dad soon. How does that quote go? The truth will set you free. It's time to be free.
I lean back in the truck seat and let my eyes close. I'm lucky to have a brother like James. Andrew picks me up from school the next day. I feel warm jumps in my heart when his car pulls up to the sidewalk. I'm smiling like a fool when I slide into his car. Hey, I say.
Hey.
He's gloomy, tired.
Do you mind if we just hang out at my house?
Sure, I say. I really don't mind. The last time was fun. He puts the car into drive, signals, and slowly merges into the flow of traffic. We ride in silence, but unlike the drive to the promenade, I don't feel any awkwardness. It's a comfortable silence. We get to his place where he promptly locks his car, burdens himself with his overstuffed backpack, and rushes past the white picketed fence. I follow. He waits for me, closes the fence behind me, and lets out a sigh of relief. He then notices that I notice he let out a sigh of relief, and then rushes to the door to, I don't know, pretend he didn't sigh? What's up with you today? I ask.
Nothing.
He says, unlocking his front door. We head in. I slip off my shoes and drop my messenger bag on the dining table. I expect him to set up his workspace again, filled with aligned notebooks and a 2-foot-high stack of textbooks. He doesn't. He plops down on the couch in the living room. It's obviously not nothing. He was pretty upset after the Jack battle, so this must be about the bull battle, which makes sense. I had the jackal battle completely under control, and the bull battle was a lot more touch and go. But I won in the end, and that was all that mattered. Well, that was all that mattered to me. I have to keep reminding myself that he isn't used to this life. I need to help him realize that everything is fine. Normal, even. But how? I'm not usually the one who can crack people out of their funks. That's the domain of Fernanda, or Hannah, or my mom, or even someone like Star. Well, I have to try something, so I say, you know I'm Korean, right? I think we invented stuffing our emotions deep inside of us or saying everything is fine. He cracks a smile. I sit down next to him.
Sorry, you're not responsible for making me feel better. I should have just canceled for today. I just have a lot on my mind.
I don't mind hearing it, I say. He nods, but he doesn't say anything. I get up. We need snacks first, I declare.
Oof, I don't know about that. There's not going to be much. Forsake hope, all who dare enter the Clark pantry.
I laugh, but go in anyways. He's right. There isn't a whole lot. A box of granola bars, a canister of oatmeal, and some uncooked pasta. I check the fridge and get a similar result. Sparkling water cans, some old green apples, a container of grape tomatoes, and a really expensive chunk of Parmesan cheese. Did you ever get that big pot? The one you needed from the bachelor box?
Yeah, let me help you.
He digs out the pot for me. It's so shiny that I wonder if it's ever been used. I fill up the water, then hunt for a frying pan.
What are you doing?
Making pasta? I say.
We don't have any sauce.
He says. Not yet, but we will. The spice cabinet is filled with more high-quality spices, mostly leftovers from previous bachelor boxes. The containers aren't very big, but not much has been used out of them. Maybe they messed up the recipes. Whatever the reason, I'm glad for it, since at least I had the basics. Oregano, garlic powder, basil, a bit of black pepper, and olive oil. I throw all this into the pan, along with the tomatoes. It takes a bit, but eventually the tomatoes soften down into a saucy-like consistency. It's not perfect, but it'll taste good. The pasta part is easy. Just boil water, toss, and wait. Within 20 minutes, my stomach is raging, and so it seems to Andrew because he's staring at the dish as if it's the last meal he's going to eat. I shred the expensive Parmesan over the top of it all, and then sprinkle it just a little bit more basil for garnish. We both have an obscene amount of pasta in our bowls, but it doesn't slow either of us down for a second. We eat in dead silence.
Oh my god.
He says with a sigh, dropping his fork into the empty bowl.
What kind of sorcery was that? You made a meal out of literally nothing.
It wasn't nothing. You had the ingredients. You just didn't recognize them as ingredients. But I take it you like it?
It was amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. My mom's sort of obsessed with Italian food. I think we might eat that more often than Korean, honestly. In either case, I've gotten pretty proficient at both. Italian's a little easier, I think, I say.
It was great, and I feel a lot better. Ready to talk now, if you still want to listen.
We each grab a sparkling water can and crack them open. I have lime, so it tastes sort of like soda that someone forgot to put the sugar in. I'll never understand some trends. Andrew's is blueberry acai, but he only takes a single sip. Then he begins.
Yesterday was my one-on-one date with Star. It went okay. Honestly, I spent most of my time asking her questions about who might be trying to kidnap me or, kill me. I think as far as first dates go, it was probably among the worst in the history of the world.
I'm sure Star understands, I say, sipping my water to hide my grimacing. So this wasn't really about the bowl. Or it wasn't only about the bowl. I forgot he had a date with Star.
I know she does, but that's not the point. Something happened to me when I was a kid, and I've never been able to let it go. It's still affecting me, and now affecting you and Star. I think I need to find a way to move past that, otherwise, it's going to dominate the rest of my life.
I wait. He's staring at his water can, gathering up his courage.
When I was 8, a collector spirit kidnapped me from school. He came out of the storm drain and had tentacles like an octopus, but somehow knew how to stretch and twist my body so I could fit through the grate. It happened so fast, I didn't even have the time to scream or yell. When my dad came to pick me up, nobody knew where I was. I don't remember a lot about what happened while I was in it. I don't know if it was part of the spirit's power or I just blocked it out of the trauma. We traveled a long time through the sewers until we got into this abandoned warehouse. The whole thing must have been planned out because there was a sleeping who was waiting for me. My mom told me something like this could happen, but she's told me to protect me, that my grandfather would protect me, that the city would protect me. I don't blame them now, but at the time, it felt like the whole world was falling apart. I was told I would be safe, and I wasn't. I wasn't there for very long. I ate canned ravioli for dinner, and I think it was getting late because I remember getting into the sleeping bag. Then it all happened at once. The door came crashing down. It was my mom, bathed in the righteous, furious light of the garden. I don't think the spirit even knew what happened. It was here, and the next minute it was completely deleted. My mom came save me.
And you're silent for a very long moment. I'm too afraid to say anything. I'm almost too afraid to breathe.
Since then, I've had a tremendous amount of anxiety about spirits. It's one thing to know that they can be dangerous, but it's different when you're attached and you're completely powerless. And I know not every spirit is like that, and that there are a lot of good spirits that are needed for the balance of both worlds. But it doesn't help. Deep down in my psyche, I can't get over the terror that the spirit brought me.
Is that what happened when you saw the bull? I asked.
Yes, it's what happens if I see any spirit, except for a couple that are my grandfather's friends. I panic. The world shrinks in around me, and I get tunnel, and my breathing gets out of control. I can't stop myself. It's not from anyone else's panic attacks, but there isn't a therapist in the world that knows how to help me through this.
Hi there, we seem to be having some technical difficulties. We're just going to get some camera work done here and refresh Zoom for everyone. We'll be right back. Okay, we're out for the moment. Hi everyone, sorry, we have fixed everything and we will be right back. Do you know where you are to be there, Autumn? Alright, continue back.
Is this what happened when you saw the bull? I asked.
Yes, it's what happens if I see any spirit except for a couple that are my grandfather's friends. I panic. The world shrinks in around me and I get tunnel vision and my breathing gets out of control. I can't stop myself. It's not really any different from anyone else's panic attacks, but there isn't a therapist in the world that knows how to help me through this.
Is that why you don't want to become a guardian?
No.
This surprises me so much that I can't hide it on my face. Andrew sees my shock and laughs.
I know, I'm a confusing person. The spirit anxiety is a problem I have to deal with no matter what. My reasons for not becoming the guardian are, well, a little bit different, but sort of related.
I wait in silence, wondering if he's going to tell me. I won't judge you, I whisper. No matter what.
When I was kidnapped, that spirit was frightening. But the scariest thing there was my mom. She came in there, spear in hand, surrounded in blue fire. I had never seen her so angry before. Her voice was low and loud, her face twisted in fury. She took care of that spirit with extreme brutality. I could feel the rage in her attack.
He takes a deep breath.
I'm afraid of being the guardian because I don't want it to turn me into something like that. I don't like fighting.
He puts his face into his hands and leans against the table.
I'm so lame.
No, you're not. These things aren't easy. It's like you said, you're going to be around the spirit world no matter what, even if you marry me. Or Star. We're going to be connected to the spirit world. Or if you married a regular non-spirit girl, your children are going to be connected to the spirit world too. It's a lot to think about. I scoop up the dishes and wash them, just to give myself something to do until Andrew have a few moments to think.
Thank you for listening,
he says after I close the dishwasher. You're welcome. I'm not sure it was much help.
This isn't something I'm gonna solve in an afternoon, but I feel a lot better.
He looks over at his backpack on the table, then over at the TV.
I don't really feel like doing my work, so, TV?
Oh, thank God, I say. For a second, I thought you were going to make me finish my English paper.
You haven't finished it yet? If you want.
No. We sit down on the couch and Andrew opens the menu on the TV. He's got every streaming service and cable, but I can't remember the last time I voluntarily watched regular cable TV. He opens the riddle, the streaming service that tries to answer the questions, what do you want to watch, by using machine learning or algorithmic predictions, or a team of psychics or something. It's just as bad as any of the others in his predictions. He scrolls around the menu a bit, then suddenly passes the remote to me.
Here, you can pick.
I feel a sudden panic. This moment is a make or break moment of our entire relationship. What if our show tastes aren't compatible? I try to tell myself that this is the dumbest fear imaginable, but I can't help it. All I can think about are my parents sitting wordlessly in this living room, both exhausted from their day, passing time together in front of their favorite shows. What if all he likes are Eastern European dramas or science documentaries? And then I have an idea. Riddle has a recently watched list. I'll just pick one from there. I scroll over.
Wait,
Andrew reaches back for the remote, but it's too late. I've already selected the first show. The theme song starts up.
Lunchbox, lunchbox. Dinner time, dinner time. Fighting heroes here to save the day. Living foodstuffs will help you find your way.
Oh man, I say, sitting up. Is this Food fighters?
Yeah.
He says, embarrassment washing over his face. I love food fighters, I say. Jeez, I haven't seen this since I was a kid.
Cool.
Andrew says, looking relieved.
It just became available on Riddle like a week ago. I've sort of been binging through the whole thing.
We watched the episode for a little while. I actually remember the storyline. Pinktaria's cotton candy lost control of her powers, which meant that the Sugar Kingdom was unprotected. The show's main heroes, the Fighting Five, volunteer to protect the Sugar Kingdom, while another group goes to take Pinktaria's cotton candy to see the Watermelon Wizard. Is this the one where the Fighting Five had to take Trail Grande? I asked.
Yeah, it's pretty classic. I think like 70% of Food Fighter memes come from this one episode.
We watched a little bit longer. Hey, what's your favorite Food Fighter? I asked.
Oh, that's a pretty personal question.
Andrew says.
I mean, this could make or break our entire relationship.
I was just thinking about that with our show compatibility, and that worked out okay. I think we can handle it.
What if we say it at the same time? On 3?
Deal, I say. 1, 2, 3. Fry Falcon, I say.
I a pirate.
He says. We stare at each other. He pauses the show. What? You gotta be kidding me, I say.
I Falcon. Really?
He says, disbelief heavy in his voice. He's the leader of the Fighting Five, and he has 2 fry swords. 2 swords.
Yeah, but that's the most basic choice of all time. Picking the goody two-shoes leader who never makes a mistake.
Andrew says. Pela Pirate is a bad guy, I say.
He was only a bad guy during season 1. He turned good after his duel with Samuel L. Jackfruit. He has a classic fallen angel, rags to riches, heel turn face character arc.
Andrew says. I may have picked the most basic food fighter, but at least I didn't pick the edgy one.
Okay, that's not edgy.
Have you seen Pale Pirate? All that black, all that brooding, all those piercings? We were arguing, but both of us have the hugest smiles on our faces. I haven't argued about food fighters in forever. It makes me feel young and carefree. I think it does the same to Andrew.
There's only one way to handle this, you know. We have to duel.
He says. Bring it on, I say, punching my fist into my palm. His eyes widen.
No, not like that. I mean with the Food Fighter's customizable deck-building battle game.
He says. No, what I meant... I know what you meant. I have my own deck somewhere in my room, I say. There wasn't a kid at Korean school who could stand up to my fry deck.
Well, then you must have been playing with real amateurs.
Andrew says, adjusting his glasses.
I have a rolling brunch deck that will decimate any fry deck in the world.
Decimate? You mean reduce by 1/10? That's fine. I only need like 6 cards to beat you, I say. That was just a dumb technicality joke, but my brother Peter won't let anyone use any word incorrectly ever. Somehow decimate remained in my memory.
Ooh, vocabulary talk. Now you're turning me on.
I don't know when, but during the food fighter debate, we had both risen to our knees, gotten very close on the couch. We're facing each other, only an inch or 2 apart. I can feel his breath. I lick my lips. We lean forward. I hear the front door opening. Adrenaline and soul-fist energy flood through me all at once, and I somehow manage to backflip out of the couch. I land, then sit in a nearby chair.
Hey, Andrew, I'm home. Oh, hello.
The man standing there is unmistakably Andrew's dad. They look like they were made from the same basic design. White, glasses, thin, studious looking. Andrew's dad's hair is graying though, and he looks sophisticated in an expensive suit and laptop bag. He sets down the bag and offers his hand.
You must be Jane. I'm a McAllister Clark, Andrew's father.
He says with a highbrow British accent. I shake his hand. It's nice to meet you, and yes, I'm Jane. Jane Choi.
Hey, Dad.
Andrew adds.
Well, it smells wonderful in here. Did you order dinner already?
No, actually, Jane made pasta.
Andrews says.
There's not any left for you, though. Sorry.
Well, I'll probably order some takeaway. Do either of you want some more to eat? You're more than welcome to stay, Jane.
I'm not sure what came over me. In fact, it felt like an out-of-body experience, as if I was watching one of Star's copies of me stand there and say these words. But I know I said them, and I know I was committed the moment I did. Do you like Korean food? I asked.
Oh, yes, that sounds good. Andrew?
Yeah, that's fine.
Great, I say, still feeling that I'm outside of my body. Let me cook for you.
Why do you always do this? Why don't you ever think ahead, Jane?
I
I'm
think that was
standing.
Mom.
I'm standing at the end of the block, at the street corner next to Andrew's house. Both Clark men were surprised at my offer to cook, and I had to insist to Mr. Clark that it was fine. He seemed especially excited about it, since I guess their last batch of box didn't go so well. I told him that I knew a delivery service that would bring me the ingredients I needed. And then I called Mom, who is now scolding me. It just slipped out. I thought you would be proud.
I am proud, but also concerned. We didn't have enough for proper banchan, only some kimchi and rice. You are so very lucky. I already marinated the bulgogi. Do you want beef or pork?
Beef?
Take both, you never know. Here are the chopsticks. Do they have the right pans? A good range?
Yes, Amma. The kitchen is beautiful. You're worrying too much. This is easy. They never cook anything.
And they'll never let you cook anything if you mess it up.
She puts all the ingredients in a big pile at my feet, all in disposable containers. Then she grabs me by the shoulders.
I thought you would be older when this happened, and I didn't think I'd be on a street corner, but that's life. Jane, you are to use this.
She takes out her knife and places it reverently into my hands. Your knife?
This knife has been handed down for 3 generations. Now it is yours.
Oma, it's one dinner.
One dinner that might change your whole life. Treat this seriously, Jane. Don't overcook the meat. You know it keeps cooking after you take it off the fire.
I know, Oma.
Don't let them drown it in soy sauce before they taste it, or worse yet, ketchup.
I know, Oma.
I love you. Remember everything I have taught you since you were a girl. Trust yourself.
She gives me a huge hug. Then, as fast as she had appeared, she's back in our van driving back home. Here when you need her, then gone in a flash, like a Korean fairy godmother. I pick up all the ingredients and walk them back to Andrew's house.
Whoa, do you need help?
Andrew asks as I pass through his front door. Nope.
Can I stir something or?
Nope. I repeat.
Well, maybe I could.
Andrew, I got this. Did you not just eat my amazing pasta?
Okay. I just feel a little guilty that you're doing all of this for me.
I want to. And it's fun, honestly. But if you want to help, you can fetch utensils when I need them.
Got it.
I set down the ingredients on the counter and get to work. Cooking in someone else's kitchen is weird, especially if you're like me and you do a lot of cooking. So much of what you do ends up being automatic, and it takes you longer when you open a drawer expecting a cutting board and instead are confronted with a bunch of screwdrivers. Who keeps screwdrivers in the kitchen? Andrew does a great job of fetching the needed utensils. For me, cooking is a moving meditation. Even with the interruptions of finding things, I fall into a steady calm. It's not that the world falls away from me and I'm in some sort of cooking dimension. It's the opposite. I find myself focused perfectly on the moment. I'm not distracted by thoughts or feelings. I'm focused on my senses and the moments in front of me. I open the marinated bulgogi, and my nose is filled with the saltiness of the soy sauce, the sweetness of the sugar, and the freshness of the sliced green onions. I turn on the burners and hover my hand over the pan, because my fingertips will know when it's hot enough. Andrew and his dad cannot get past the guilt of letting their guests cook, so the Clark hover over in orbit, looking for long-forgotten tools while I keep up with my rigorous cooking pace. And as dramatic as it was, I am glad Mom gave me her knife, if only because it was a familiar piece of steel and in an unfamiliar kitchen universe. Most of my cooking is just about timing and coordination, especially since my mom had pre-marinated most of the dishes. Andrea's dad looked at me as if I'm casting a spell or performing surgery.
You're a tremendous talent, Jane. You should be on one of those cooking contests.
Mr. Clark says. No, I'm okay. My mom's the real cook of the family. Every year or so, my dad tries to convince her to open a restaurant, but she never does. I just help her a lot, so I guess I picked it up along the way.
I don't think it smelled this good in here in a very long time. When was the last time you tried making a big meal, Andrew?
Thanksgiving when I was 10.
Ah, yes. Your mother did a pretty good job with that one, if I recall.
Mr. Clark says.
Well, the second time she did the turkey, yeah.
Andrew says with a grimacing grin.
I saw smoke. Is there fire?
Andrew's grandfather Archer calls from the back door.
No, Grandpa, Jane's cooking.
Well, that seems backwards, inviting a young lady over to your house and demanding she cook. This isn't the 50s anymore, boy. You should be more respectful. Oh dear, is that pork? This smells incredible.
I volunteered to cook, Archer, I say.
You definitely don't deserve this one.
Archer says, nudging Andrew hard on the shoulders. He looks embarrassed. My mouth sounds sorry to him, but I can't help but smile, not only at Archer's teasing, but about everyone's delight at the smell of the food. Just wait until they taste it. The Clarkmans set the table. I let them put out forks, but then I remember Mom gave me some chopsticks to set out. Korean chopsticks are a little different from the ones you use at Japanese or Chinese restaurants. They're a little different in shape, but the biggest difference is that they're made of metal. Korean chopstick sets also have a spoon, because who wants to struggle with eating rice with sticks? I opened the cases Mom packed, and my eyes almost fall out of my head. They were silver chopsticks with beautiful gold scrollwork designs dancing on the ends. These are the good chopsticks, the one made with real gold in them. Oma, this is totally over top.
These chopsticks are exquisite,
Mr. Clark remarks after we've all sat down. Yes, they're for special occasions.
I suppose this is a pretty special occasion.
Mr. Clark says, raising his water glass.
To Jane and to having a home-cooked meal.
Finally,
Archer adds. We eat. Despite eating pasta not long ago, I still have a pretty good appetite. Andrew does too, judging by the speed at which he's eating. My mom told me once that the best compliment you can get is a silent table. I mean, yes, during a party, especially a Korean one, there's a lot to do about the manners and etiquette. But she said that when people are enjoying their food, they don't pay attention to anything else. For the first few minutes, everyone is dead silent.
Really good.
Andrew says. I beam.
you should marry Jane just for the food.
Archer says. I laugh. Archer laughs, and even Andrew laughs a little. But Mr. Clark doesn't laugh. He has the same pained, guilty look on his face that Andrew did when he was admitting to me that he didn't know much about my clan. I know it isn't my place to try and cheer the guy up. I mean, he was as deceptive about the arranged dating with Andrew as my dad was with me. He deserves to feel guilty. But it also isn't my place to judge him. That's an issue he and Andrew have to work out. From my point of view, he was just a dad doing his best to keep his son safe from unimaginable dangers. I mean, he had already gotten kidnapped once by a tentacle spirit. Did he even know about the jackals and the bull? How many other dangers had the hunter guardian quietly killed in the background? If my kid didn't want to be the guardian, wouldn't I do everything I could to help them? I decided to try and cut Mr. Clark a little slack. My dad said that Andrew and I used to play when we were little, I say to him. He snaps out of his thoughts and nods.
Yes, he's right about that. You were very little, though, about 5. In fact, I hadn't seen your parents since about then. It was surprising to meet them again after all this time.
You know, my mom said that sometimes things don't exactly go the way you want them to. Like, she tried this new Calvi restaurant once that wasn't quite up to her new standards, but we ate it anyways, and it was good. Maybe this isn't how I wanted to meet Andrew, but I'm glad I did. That wasn't quite as smooth as I hoped that would be, but he looks a little relieved. And I mean it. My life is better for knowing Andrew, whether we ended up marrying or not.
Thank you, Jane. I'm glad that you're here with us now. Go on, tell me more about yourself.
I do. And he replies in kind. I learn about Mr. Clark's business, international banking. The adorable story of how he and Andrew's mom met when she saved him from a rampaging greed spirit at the same international bank. About how he was excited that Andrew's grades were so good that he was already getting interested letters from the Ivy Leagues, and so on. Andrew doesn't say much, but I understand why. This dinner is about me and his dad getting to know each other. I watched Hannah do the interrogation dinner, and Peter's boyfriend Marco, and the string of odd girls that Henry had brought around from time to time. I know the dance. I better clean up, I say, getting up from the table.
Oh no, absolutely not. We can take care of that.
Mr. Clark says. It's not a trouble. My mom says that cleaning is part of the cooking.
Well, it isn't tonight. You've done more than enough, and we're very grateful for your cooking. The least we can do is clean.
He replies firmly.
Believe him, Jane. It's usually slim pickings around here for food. You're a godsend.
Archer says. I do go to the kitchen, only to clean my knife and the chopsticks, and pack those back in the bags. I thank the knife, as silly as that sounds, but I feel like it lent me a little strength tonight. I think I'll give it back to my mom, though. I'm not ready for the responsibilities of matriarchal cook just yet. Thanks for having me over, I say to Mr. Clark.
Thank you again for cooking.
Anytime, I say. Bye, Archer.
I'm rooting for you, Jane.
Archer calls out. I smile, but I feel my cheeks burning with a blush. Andrew rolls his eyes and walks me to the front door. We stop on the porch.
I had fun today. Thanks for coming over. And thanks for talking to me. And thanks for cooking. I have a lot to thank you for.
Andrew says, it's nothing. I had fun too. I like your dad.
Yeah, he's okay.
Well, you know how this is going to go. Now my mom's going to practically demand that you come over. So steel yourself, I say.
I'll undergo the most rigorous of mental trainings. Navy SEAL torture chamber stuff.
We laugh. We linger.
Were we going to kiss earlier before my dad got home?
Yep, I say with a grin.
Really?
Oh yeah, we were. It was going to be good, too.
Well, that's super disappointing.
It is.
We could kiss now.
We could, but I'm full and tired, and I think the moment's gone. If we kiss now, it'd be forced and bad, and we'll always compare it to the kiss that we didn't have, I say.
So we'll never kiss because we'll never reach, I'm sorry, the unobtainable goal we put in our minds.
He says. I shrug as adorably as I can. Just because that moment is gone doesn't mean we can't find another one.
What are the chances of that, you think?
If you keep being wonderful, pretty good. I hug Andrew tight. Try not to let it keep you up tonight, I whisper in his ears. Then I gather up my things, step through the front door, and walk down the street without turning back. Hell yes. Flirty, witty Jane is back. Joke smash. I know that my situation isn't any less complicated than it was a few hours ago, but for the moment, it's all far away. All that matters right now is how two people feel about each other. And to think that it would be cooking and not fighting that helped me get closer to Andrew. My mom is never going to let me live this down.
And that is it for today. Thank you, Autumn, Kerrick, Paige, Velvet, Marisa, and Nicole. We will be back next week for part 4.